This is Scott Becker with the Becker Private Equity and Business Podcast. We come to you daily with business episodes, short private equity episodes, interviews with brilliant business and private equity leaders, as well as try to make sure you're a little bit entertained and you learn a little something. We've got today just a terrific guest joining us. We're joined by one of the best women's college basketball coaches of all time, Matthew Mitchell. Matthew's going to tell us about his career and what he teaches now outside of basketball. He still coaches some basketball, but literally he coaches now his middle school children versus college athletes. And he had a fantastic college record. Matthew, can you tell us a bit about your background and then tell us about what you're doing now?
Yes, Scott. First of all, thanks so much for having me on. I'm thrilled to be with you. And I had a 25-year coaching career in athletics. I started out as a middle school and high school teacher and coach. I eventually got into college basketball, and so the last 13 years of my career, I'd risen to the highest level of Division I collegiate basketball. I was the head women's basketball coach at the University of Kentucky, and we had a great run there. And we're able to elevate that program from one of the bottom programs in the Southeastern Conference to one of the top programs and a championship program in the Southeastern Conference and also in the nation. And so that was an incredible journey to be on. And as I stepped away from that, I'm now coaching in the corporate world. And what I learned through the success in athletics is that our success really depended on a process. And if we paid attention to the process, then the results would show up. And that's what we're bringing to the business world. The same type of performance that you need to succeed in business exists the same way it does in athletics. You have to be focused. So we are passionate in my company, the Winning Tools. We go into high aspirational, high performance, high achievement is desired from your team. We come into your business and teach you process-driven leadership. And it's all about working together, everybody understanding where their gifts are and what they mean to the team, and bringing that together and forming an organization that really not only drives the bottom line, but it's an atmosphere and a culture where you show up every day wanting to be there and wanting to be with your teammates. And I think it just resonates so much, bringing that background from athletics into the corporate world. And I've really enjoyed doing that. And that's what I do now every day.
And take a moment, because you were this fantastic college basketball coach, one of the best in the business, a fantastic winning record, a great career. And now you're doing fantastic at this. You've also written a couple books. Can you take a moment on the books, and then I want to take you back to some of the lessons you've learned and that you teach in coaching business leaders as well as athletes back in the day. But tell us about the books that you've authored.
Well, my first book was called Winning Tools, and that, Scott, that's the principles that guide the process. And the Winning Tools was the system that I created and the foundation that I built two successful Division I college basketball programs on. And it was very simple. We were going to be guided by three principles: honesty, hard work, and discipline. And in the book, the first book that we released last summer, and we were fortunate to have success with that, it was a Wall Street Journal bestseller. We break down how you bring those principles alive in a team and in your business, just the way that we brought it alive in our basketball program. And what it leads to, Scott, is sustained success. That's what we're all about. We're not about a good quarter or a good 2 quarters or a good year or a good 2 years. We want sustained success. We were able to build a program that had over a decade of sustained success at Kentucky in the most competitive athletic environment possible. And so what I found in businesses, especially, it's funny that I'm on this podcast. The first client I ever spoke to outside of athletics was private equity. I was talking to a really high-performing private equity team, and as I talked to the leader, it just reminded me exactly of a team and how everyone needed to bring their gifts together, and performance is so important. and being successful and getting a win in that world is every bit as important as it is getting a basketball win. And so those principles, the winning tools, honesty, hard work, discipline, can really guide a team to work well together. And so that was the first book. My second book, as we teach honesty, hard work, and discipline, we have pillar points to each one of those principles. And one of the foundational principles, pillar points of hard work is preparation. And so my next book that's coming out November 19th is called Ready to Win: How Successful Leaders Thrive Through Preparation. And so it's all about world-class preparation, getting yourself as an individual, as a team member, getting prepared. And then as a leader, how do I prepare my team to get the results that we want? And how do I do that? And preparation is part of that process-driven leadership that we talk about. So I'm very excited about this next book that's coming out.
When you talk about preparation and think about preparation, what is the key to preparation, particularly when we think about preparing oneself for the day, the week, the year, whatever venture you're after? How do you think about that in preparing oneself, ready to win, being ready to win? How do you think about that?
Yes. And so in personal preparation, I think it's really important to identify what your priorities are. And so for me, I break it down into 5 areas. I have a spiritual component that I want to pay attention to in my life. I want to make sure that my spirit is strengthened every day. There is a mental component around your business and your competency and how do you continue to get better, and how do you make sure that you are trying to increase your competency and get better at what you do and sharpen your skills and bring your talent to the forefront. There's a physical component that's important to stay healthy and strong, and so your tank is filled up so you can serve others well. Same thing with your emotions. I think that's so important with your emotional health. And then the 5th part, Scott, that I found is so important, especially for high active driving leaders who are trying to pursue success, is paying attention to what I call a hobby or a leisure time, and trying to carve out some time for yourself to take care of yourself and have some fun in life. And so I have to prioritize those 5 things, and they're all not equal. Of course, you're not going to have a perfect balance of those. But I think when I think about personal preparation, I have to take time, and I have to make sure that I'm paying attention to those 5 areas and getting what I need from those 5 areas. And when I do that, now I can start to show up with a full tank, and I can lead effectively, and I can bring my best self to my team members and to my clients and to the people that I'm serving. So personal preparation, that's very personal to you. So those 5 might not work for other people, but that's how I view it. And I think that's a great way for people to approach it. What are your priorities in life? And how does that help you show up in the best version of yourself?
Thank you. Give us those 5 pillars again, because I think some people would like to take notes on those 5 pillars, if you don't mind.
Yeah. So my spiritual life, however you approach that, I think is where I have to start. I have to make sure that is whole and healthy, and so that includes quiet time, my prayer time. How do I treat my family? How do I think about my family? And so that's where it starts. And then you have your professional pursuit, which I call the mental part of your life, and trying to make certain that I am honing my skills, I'm improving my competency, I can show up better today than I was yesterday because I'm constantly learning and I'm trying to be a better professional. And so whatever field you're in, you are seeking out what are the new trends, what are the new competencies that I can try to acquire so I'm more effective. There's your emotional life, that you're paying attention to your emotions. You're making sure that you're aware of your emotional health, and that's going to improve your relationship with yourself and then others. There's your physical component, where I want to be healthy. I want to pay attention to my nutrition, to my exercise. That keeps me strong and energetic, and I don't wear myself down, and I pay attention to when I need some rest, and I pay attention to when I need some exercise, and I fuel my body correctly. And then the fifth part is what we call either your hobby or your leisure. How do you unwind? How do you relax? I know you and I talked about, we share a passion for sports and playing golf or playing tennis, or do you like to read, or do you like to paint, or do you like music? Whatever that may be, those are the 5 areas that I pay attention to, so I can show up personally prepared. And that's a great way to look at it. And what we call that is just the priorities of personal preparation.
No, and I love that. And I tell you, the golf, tennis, fitness are 3 of my big sort of outside leisure activities in sports. And my goodness, if I was to give a scorecard, tennis and fitness are going okay. My golf game right now is going in the wrong direction. And what a challenge. I need to be ready to win and prepare better there. Matthew, talk to us about, what are you most focused on and excited about this year? And you remain a big Wildcat fan now that you're not coaching at Kentucky anymore.
Oh, gosh, I love the Wildcats. We, Scott could have moved anywhere we wanted to after I stepped away from college coaching, but we love Kentucky. The University of Kentucky and being the head coach literally changed my life and the trajectory of my life. It's opened so many doors for me now in my business. And so I'm so grateful, and still a huge diehard Kentucky fan. And as we say here in the Commonwealth of Kentucky, we bleed blue here. So we love the Wildcats. And what I'm focused on in the next year is bringing this message from Ready to Win into people's businesses, because I believe if a business can spend dedicated time and learn this process of preparing their people personally and then their teams, they're going to get incredible outcomes. And it's going to happen through this process-driven leadership that my company, Winning Tools, can step in and help people and walk them through this process that is tried and true and has proven to drive sustained success. And so we are moving this forward. And the book is, I'm so proud of the book, worked really hard. We have a lot of practical assets that even if you only buy the book, you'll have access to some of our assets physical assets, some workshop items that we work through with our company to make sure we're prepared. And then we show companies how to use this and really bring it alive. And so I'm out speaking, coaching, always writing, and that's what we provide through our company.
What an amazing career. Let me ask you another question. We've got one of my best friends' daughter is going to start this fall at Mississippi State. Any advice for someone going to Mississippi State?
Well, the first thing I would say, they did an excellent job selecting a university, because that's my alma mater. Mississippi State's my alma mater.
Yes, I know that. I know that. That's fantastic.
Yeah. She made a great decision. And so Mississippi State is a very dynamic school and has made so many incredible strides toward excellence since I left many, many years ago. And so I would give her, or anyone who's starting school, I think it's so important to get very engaged and be curious and look for all of the resources that are available. Here's what these universities are: so resource rich, and they do an incredible job of providing resources for the students, but they don't always do a great job of letting the students know what all is available to them. And so I would show up very curious. I would be very intentional about finding out ways I can get involved outside of just going to class and trying to be a good academic student. I would really try to get immersed in campus life. There's so many clubs, so many activities, so many resources that are available to a college student. And it is scientifically proved, Scott, the most important time in a student's career are the first 2 weeks they're on campus. And then there's more science that if they get off to a great start in that first 2 weeks and they really establish some great connections and some great support systems there, they'll follow through that for another 4 weeks. If they can get off to a good start in that first 6 weeks, it's unbelievable the success rate of them academically, with GPA, with graduating, with positioning themselves for a better job after graduation or graduate school. And so really going in there with an open mind and a curious mind and getting out of their comfort zone and getting connected to people and immersed in campus life. And of course, attending class. Class attendance is another big indicator of future success. So that'd be the advice I would give her starting at Mississippi State or anyone starting anywhere.
And Matthew, I'm going to ask you one more question, really two, so bear with me. First, where can people find your most recent books, and where can they find out more about Matthew Mitchell? So that's the first question. Let me ask you answer that first.
Yes, you can find me at coachmatthewmitchell.com, coachmatthewmitchell.com. Also, readytowinbook.com. You can go right there and get information on our pre-sale. And so we would love for people to go to readytowinbook.com because they can access some really exciting bulk packages for their team and get some really exciting bonus offers there. So coachmatthewmitchell.com gives you all of our menu of what we offer: speaking, coaching, workshops. And then we have some luxury leadership experiences that are really cool that people can plug into, where you get to go into have access to some really cool events. So you can find all that at coachmatthewmitchell.com.
Coach, thank you so much for joining us today. Any further advice that you would give to leaders that are trying to get better? Any sort of overriding advice you'd give to emerging leaders?
I think getting really clear on what your goal is and what you're trying to achieve in your career and in your leadership. And I believe it starts all with principles. And so ours are simple but powerful: honesty, hard work, discipline. Gives us an anchor to know what we are about and how we're going to navigate life and how we're going to navigate leadership and how we're going to navigate teamwork. Principles, I believe, can lead us to our purpose. And then when we're purposeful, then we can take action in such an intentional way each and every day. And so I think that's so important for us. Having a process, a clear process of how you want to walk through your business, how you want to serve. And I think when we lead from a point of service of how we're going to serve our clients, our customers, and I think that's the big key to having a solid process. And when we have a solid process, Scott, the results are going to show up. It's not going to be perfect every time. It's not going to be a 1,000% batting average, but it's going to be something where you can sustain success. And process-driven leadership, we're passionate about it at coachmatthewmitchell.com, and I hope people will visit us there and find out how we can step in and help them be really, really successful.
Coach Mitchell, just fantastic to visit with you. Thank you for joining us on the Becker Private Equity and Business Podcast. Just fantastic. We look forward to having you back and talk to you about some of the people that have had influence on you, because such an interesting career you've had. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Scott.